Alrighty, I will begin now, I would say. Now, this is gonna be recorded on Twitch for the starters, so for those that want to watch this VOD, you can watch it later on. I'll save it on purpose. So, welcome to Galleon's crash course for beginners, basically. I will attempt to talk about what is Galleon, how Galleon works, her toolkits and whatnot. I will be splitting this in sections, and do remind that I'm also in the Discord here for the beginners, those that want to listen here and be here, and I am going to give the agenda how this is gonna work. So for Galleon, I will be covering her general toolkits, starting with buttons and then specials. I'll be covering her basic game plan, her basic combos as well. And I will then cover her neutral, offense, defense, and I will have counterplay as an actual section, how to play against Galleon, when you'll understand how this sequence of characters tools work first for her. All right? Another point is that I know that there will be questions, so I'm gonna be in between these sections. I will give a few moments to give questions here in the voice chat, and I'll answer them live. Otherwise, if there's questions that happen on the Twitch chat in general, I will address them at the end of this whole talk. So all of the questions, I will try to look fast through the Twitch VOD, and then I'll try to answer them in my best capacity. If the question is outside of the section that is asked, I will probably ask for people to ask it after the whole thing. Just there'll be a questions section at the end. So without further ado, let's get into this. So for those that want to see it right here, I'm gonna give you the screen as well. Alright, so Galleon. Usually when you start talking about the characters in general, and I'm gonna just do just a few modifications for my workspace here. Here we go, should be way better. When you're talking about the Galleon as what kind of character she is, by the definition in the fighting games, a set play grappler. Her whole shtick is to play a slower, more methodical game, creating sequences where you can go into your command grab game, or you set play Meteorite, which you use them to gain advantage in neutral, offense, and in rare occasions in defense. That's her basic shtick. The strengths of the character comes from the fact that she has really, really great... I would say, let's do it like this. Should be way better for now. Harder to hear on stream. We can fix that. It's not a problem. Mostly I'm gonna be... Yeah. We fix everything on the go in production. Don't worry about that. So, her strengths come the fact that she has really, really good long-range buttons, namely the far heavy. Also really good reach with the 5U in general. She has quite a good ways of dealing with air approaches in this game, and one of the few very powerful ways of dealing with air stalls, which is mostly with the hit grab. She does boast quite a nice amount of damage when you start getting yourself into, you know, converting in the corner with Meteorite and whatnot. It can easily reach 9k on average. But her cons is that she's a slow character. She boasts one of the slowest dash speeds, maybe second slowest dash speed, preceded by Versusia at the start. Well, she speeds up very fast, but usually when you talk about dash speed in general in these kind of games, in Granblue particularly, when you have a very universal strong tool that is the 6XL, the dash speed itself is very important. It also impacts the way how you approach certain problems and whatnot. Another problem is her jump arc is very short. It is strong when you need to do grappler jumps, but when it comes to certain matchups, which I will talk later, it is not particularly great. You do not cover a lot of ground, and this also makes it at the point that if your opponent is doing counter hit, you do not get yourself a counter hit BC cross up. This is a very big weakness for the character, but I'll show you why it is later on in the defense section. So that is all for the overview for the character. Let's start talking about her tools, in a sense. As I said, this is all structure, and if you need any questions after the button section, I'll say if there are any questions, you can feel free to ask about it. So let's start talking about buttons and tools in general. Lights, mediums, heavies, 5U, sweep, and then we can go through the specials in that order. So her lights are pretty standard. Her far light is not that bad in a sense. Let me just get the ape out. It's not particularly bad. It has a problem of what you want to convert to, which is usually gonna be the will of the earth by itself. You don't particularly have many other choices to convert off the far light, but the range it covers and the fact that it covers quite nicely with the crouching state, it makes it a nice way to press it on defense. The 2L as well is boasts quite good range, but it has a weakness that it's not a low. Her next best low is 2M, and we'll get to it soon. Far medium is, I think, her bread and butter as a button. It is an 8-framer, which is not particularly that fast when compared to the average medium button. Usually what you expect is a 7-framer, and there's a very big importance, the difference between these two buttons. But usually that weakness is gonna be very apparent in certain matchups which abuse these kind of gaps where you cannot challenge people or press this specific button. 2M is her fastest low, I would say. At this current state, it's equal to 2U, so both of them are her fastest low. It's not generally used anywhere except for very rare lock strings, which usually is gonna be using 2M as a low option to catch people walking back, or in rare occasions in certain matchups where you have to use the far light, and there's this little button that Belial has, which is the standing medium, which is a 6-frame. You can't press far medium after the far light, but you can press 2M, and usually to great advantage just trade. And some cases even win. So that is gonna be the only reason you're particularly gonna be using 2M in any particular order. It's fine as a low, to be honest. But you're not really playing the game to catch people walking back, and I'll get to it later on. Let's talk about her second bread and butter, which is the far heavy. Far heavy by itself is a monster of a button. It is a 31 frame, it's ridiculously fast. It's to whiff punish. If you're pressing this button, not a lot of characters and players can whiff punish this effectively at certain ranges. Plus in how fast the recovery comes in. The caveat is that this is a slower heavy on average. It's a 13 frame startup, which means that you're gonna get mostly clipped out in a lot of situations if you're gonna be using it defensively. So how you usually want to use the far heavy is by throwing it out in certain ranges where you expect people to go for a forward approach. 2H, your standard anti-air option. It's probably a really good 2H in general. Covers quite a bit of ground as well. It covers behind quite nicely. So let me just You can get a it basically covers the skies, and this is your go-to anti-air option. If you can't get a 2H, you're gonna go for 2H. Talking about close buttons, not much to be said. Close light is a 6-frame starter. That means it's a bit slower on average, meaning that you're not gonna get punishes on certain characters in certain positions where it's -5. And that way, like one good example I can give you is Loane by himself. Loane EX Awesome Sauce is -5 by itself. Usually people would get themselves a close light punish for it, but for Galleon, you're gonna probably just go for a throw punish, because throw is 4, it's your fastest option in general. Next up is close medium. Close medium is gonna probably be your combo filler most of the time. It is gonna be a delayed option in certain situations. I haven't really found very good reasons to press it, mostly because you are forced to cancel it most of the time. Because of the being -6. You'll probably go into auto combo, or you're gonna go for anything of that situation. Close heavy is a slower close heavy. Because of the 11 frames, you can particularly get yourself with it a Raging Strike, Raging Chain, close heavy, which a lot of characters can get because it's your +10, so a 9 and 10 frame close heavies do get a hit. So usually you're gonna use close medium for this in general. Q. Okay, I can be nice and I can be truthful. With nice, it has uses, but truthfully, this is a very bad 2U. In regards with the whole game's 2U, you're not gonna be using it defensively, neither to catch people away. It is also a multi-hit, meaning that it is prone to be BC'd a lot more oftenly than you think. Hell, at first hit, I think it's even a counter hit. No, it's not. Okay, thank God. But because of the multi-hit property, you're not particularly gonna be using it a lot in pressure, except for few exceptions, and I will get to it when the offense part ends. And you're basically pressing this is gonna be, you know the exact reason why you're pressing 2U, and that's when you're gonna be pressing it. It's gonna be a deliberate option rather than what you can cover situations with 2U. It's also the fact that because of the multi-hit property, it does have positions where you're only gonna hit once, but the move is still gonna go forward. There are cases that happen like that, and it's mostly because of the extended hurt boxes. Like for instance, you get yourself this position. It's not great compared to getting just a 2U, but there's a difference. Usually, and it's very important when you have the set play in mind. What else? Dash buttons. 6XL. What am I supposed to say about 6XL? It's gonna be your third bread and butter, unfortunately. Even though this 6XL is also, on average, one of the worst ones. Mostly for the how much you cover with it, how far away you put yourself from getting yourself a medium hit off of it, and what you can get off of it. Like for instance, from a regular hit is gonna be usually a far light, and you can only have poor conversions off of it. Best case, what you're gonna be using 6XL is as your plus frame option for command grabs and your frame traps and other reasonings, and also it's gonna be one of the core combo fodders in general. 6XM is your standard dash low, just with the caveat that you can't particularly space it easily to make it safe. So if you're using this, you're very deliberate at getting a hit on their feet at long range. The only good caveat is that it kind of propels you very far away compared to most of the options that you do. It's like very similar to how 6XL works. It just covers a lot longer. And this is... Let's start with a very simple preface. If you're throwing this in neutral, you're kind of putting yourself on the dev's bed. And there's, even if you can use the 6XH, it's like 6XH is by the idea, is your launcher. It's a very, very potent button. It's used in a lot of conversions and a lot of combos as well. And it's idea that you can reposition yourself after the 6XH really helps the combo game itself. But it does not help whatsoever in here. Everybody can punish you in this position. There are cases where you can use the 6XH by itself to punish things, like DPs, and it's a legit way of punishing it. So, it's not to be scoffed around, but other than that, I recommend, until you get a lot more intuitive with Galleon, to basically never throw this in neutral. You're just putting yourself in a very punishable position for not a lot of gain. Because sure, you do get yourself a close heavy conversion into whatever you want. Kinda. And her fourth bread and butter option that you're gonna be using a lot is Seism. It is her 5U. This button is crazy. First of all, it is... it is a low hitting throw property move. Its whole idea is that it covers half of the screen when uncharged, but you can charge it to cover the full screen. It does 0 damage by itself, and it leaves you at plus 39 position. Usually at certain spacings you can even get yourself a safe jump off of this because of the plus 39. The reasons to use this in neutral is you have to think of it as your projectile. But you have to understand it, it's not going to be a projectile that is gonna always result in some form of reward. Your reward is gonna be defined by where you get to hit it and against what kind of option. It can be very, very meh when you, for instance, the person blocks it, or by the way, you can backdash it. And then you eat the whole recovery for this move. This is because why I said it's a throw property move. People can actually, on reaction, jump it, and it doesn't particularly matter if you're already in the active frames. The throw invincibility is gonna allow you to jump it, which is makes this a lot more riskier to be throwing out, as if the person is capable of reacting to it. But on the other hand, the reward that you're capable of getting off of this can result in mixed various things. So first one, if you get it from far away, it's a plus 39 position, which you can just run forward and get yourself into Oki position. For a grappler to do so from this range is insanely strong. Other than that, if you get it close by, it's a regular hit. You can choose either go for Oki, as I showed before, or you can get yourself a, for instance, L hit grab, which I'm going to talk about more later. It's not a lot, but it's something to work with if you get a hit and if you really need that health advantage or gain. And then we get to the meat of the problem here, is that if you get a counter hit 5U, this is the party starter. You get a lot of stuff. out of this. And it has some potential to be used defensively, but you need to have a read of your life to get it. It's not easy to use it, mostly because it's 18 frame starter. It is insanely slow in terms of this game's options. But if you get yourself a counter hit, you can start using it to your advantage. And there's one more thing that the 5U does. It triggers meteorites. And with that, we can start going into specials unless there are questions about buttons themselves. I'll be waiting for a minute if anybody wants to ask anything. Let it be in text form, let it be out in voice. Let me see if I can get this. How good is her taunt? A solid 7 out of 10. Yes, 2L is not a low. For those that do gonna be watching the VOD, it is... I have a Discord here where people are listening to me here as well. And there are questions in the chat and I'm now answering those. Anything else? Is she slower than Visaraga? Yes. Unfortunately. The thing is, her walk speed, though, is really good. Any button problem with rolls low profiles? I mean, yes, far medium by itself has that problem. Let's take one prominent low profiler in ours. I could go for Grand, but showing this on this character is a lot better. So there are cases where far medium by itself can get a low profile by these kind of options. Mostly because it doesn't cover that low, and it can have a problem with Catalina, mostly, in this kind of position. 2M of hers, you're always punishing with far medium. Usually you're gonna use the 2M for that. But the thing is, this is more advanced topics. I can answer this question more in depth. But the idea is that I'm gonna keep this as much for anybody to crash course and pick up a character and understand the character by itself. If there are gonna be any more advanced topics that we want to talk, we'll be talking them at the end of this whole presentation, in a sense. If there's anything else about the buttons? If no, I will continue on and talk about her specials. So, specials. So we have 4 specials. Usually I can do the technical inputs by themselves, but honestly after a while I've started using just easy inputs, so I'll be mostly talking them in the names of their specials or without the easy input by itself. It's just something that I've gotten used to, and it's way more quicker, and it helps me to switch characters later on. But anyways, off tangent. So there are 4 specials. The first one is Will of the Earth. The second one is her Command Grab, which is the Earthly Grass, if I remember right. Then there's the Meteorite Setup, which is the down input. And then there's the Hit Grab, the Bedrock Smash, in a sense. So the idea, what I'm gonna go with, I'm gonna start with how the easy input works. So, easy input, regular. Skill button. Let's go with skill button. I'm used to calling it easy from long ago. So, Will of the Earth, the L version by itself, is a forward-moving, not a projectile. Like, it's just not it's not a projectile. Mostly because you have a herd box on it. Kinda. Oh yeah, this crushes. It's a strike option because you can clash with heavies. Yeah, here we go. These, all of them are strikes. That's all you need to know for now. So that means projectile invulnerability are not gonna be a problem for this specific thing. So let's talk about Will of the Earth by itself. Because of the forward moving property and because it reaches horizontally forward, it's gonna be your BMB either in cancel game or it's gonna be BMB in neutral as well. But the fact is that you're still gonna be thinking it on whiff as a projectile because it has similar risk reward by you can get jumped on for these. So the L1 is -2. It is a very safe way to end your pressure strings. It pushes away quite a bit. You can use it in neutral as well as an extended option, but usually if you're using L, why are you not using far heavy? That's my take out of this. The M version is a slow +4 option. It is usually meant to be a pressure reset that you can use to your advantage. And it has some implications in counter hit confirming. Mostly in heavy counter hit confirming, because this combos by itself and then you can do several things. For instance, this is a safe jump, or there's the funny Lolamao combo if you really want to. But other than that, it's usually gonna be used for pressure reset. Also, as a counter hit, it gives you similar properties as getting a 5U counter hit. So you think of it as a forward moving plus on block 5U. It's basically the same property. Now, I would say her strongest special, quite literally, the thing is that makes her work, in my opinion, because if she did not have this, her neutral against a lot of characters would be very hard. It's the EX Will of the Earth. So the EX hand is a very fast, comparatively for how far it reaches, option that is plus on block. Oh, you're seeing some spoilers. It's plus on block. It sends the opponent to other side of the screen with a wall bounce, which has some ideas how you can use it, and I'll show it later on. But the whole shtick is that it acts as your pressure tool in mid-screen, kinda. Like, it creates threat. At certain ranges, you can move in and use this. It also catches backdashes at certain ranges, so you can use them if you think that people are going to be backdashing. It also acts as your primary way of starting combos in the corner. So you have to choose when to use this EX Will of the Earth. Ultimate version Will of the Earth is a crumple. Now, before those the believers of, oh wait, this works like Catalina's to Ultimate Frozen Blade, like, it should be good, right? So the idea of the EX Will of the Earth, Ultimate Will of the Earth, I mean, is that it's -4 on block. That means if people are rolling it on, say, you're trying to cancel off the button and that you wanted to... Wait, is there a delay? Yes, there is a delay. Match. It's gonna be -2. But still, the idea of if you can't particularly get any safe option of this is not helping you in pressure. The way you're gonna be using this is either in combo fodder, or if you get yourself a close hit, you can run up 668 and pick it up. It's a very potent 50 bar corner carry option. And it's gonna work most of the time, and it's a good idea to use it. Because Galleon wants to corner carry to people to corner and play the corner game as much as possible. There's a caveat, said somebody somewhere in the other side of the world and whatnot. But what about her using it from far range buttons? Well, that's where the problem becomes. Remember when I said her dash speed is one of the worst in the game? Because of the dash speed by itself, you're not particularly gonna get a 6xh at ranges. Sometimes it's possible, but it can get to some very spacing and timing specific challenges. It's not gonna particularly happen. And you can, of course, do some shenanigans like this. Which is also a hard link. The thing is, you're not gonna get from far range buttons for it. Yes, they can cross over this special, if I remember right. Yes, it is. It is rollable, it is podgeable as well. What's next? So the idea of this special is it's gonna be your close range button or combo fodder for the most part. It is possible to get it from far range buttons as well, but it's gonna be deliberate if you get it in the corner, for instance, because it doesn't push you out so far. Like for instance, at this range, if you get yourself a far heavy, you can get yourself enough time to get 6xh, because it doesn't particularly push the opponent anywhere else. It is a legit way of using it in this position. And that's, I think, it about the Will of the Earth for starters. Let's go with our next special, which is second BMB, Meteorite, which is the down special. Alright, forgot to mention one thing about Will of the Earth. On ground, it crumples, but in mid-screen, if they're in the aerial, it wall bounces. So there's another reason why you're gonna be using it. It's gonna be your go-to anti-air option. If you really get a counter hit and you don't confirm into anything else. Because this is now becomes a legit pickup. So that's like what you're gonna be probably using it as well. By the way, do I remind you, I have 0 notes. I'm going off of my head about everything in a structured way. Meteorite. So Meteorite is gonna make you love and hate the advantage meter that you see on the side. Meteorite setup for L and H versions takes 30 frames to set up. The M1 sets up in 51 frames. So what's the reason for Meteorite? So Meteorite by itself, when you set yourself a area, you can trigger it with 5U, or it's triggered by the command grab. What it does is that Meteorite by itself, each Meteorite level does starting 900 damage, and it goes to level 4. Level 2 does 1100, increased by 2. Level 3 does 1300. Level 4 is the maximum is 1500 damage for the meteorite. Each level increases the radius of the meteorite it hits. And it can be used in multiple places where you want to. There's also some very cheeky set play that you can use to your advantage for it.
Hello.
But we're not particularly gonna go for that. And hello, Squiddy. Right now it's presentation time. So, what's with the meteorite in general? The meteorite is gonna be one of the core ideas how you're gonna be using it in neutral. It also depends on which matchups you're gonna be using it. There are some matchups that you're never gonna be using it. There are some matches where it's genuinely not, there's no reason to use it in neutral. like zoner matchups are one of them, because with Fairy, you particularly never gonna get even a chance to put a Meteorite and use it, because to use a Meteorite, you need 30 frames and also 18 at the fastest, which also hits very late. So it's also almost a second at the fastest to get a Meteorite to hit. So you're not gonna be using it as a counter option. Plus, it also has a very funny property. Let me see if I can get it done. Yeah, I think I got it. Meteorite disappears if you get hit. That's the first one. It's not a projectile. It's a set play tool. And by the rules of this game, set play tools tend to disappear on hit. Another one that could be shown is Cagliostro. Say she does the traps. And if she gets hit, the traps disappear. I haven't talked about her jump buttons. True! We'll get that after the specials themselves. I forgot that jumping buttons exist. But usually it's gonna be very simple. So that won't take much. So returning back to Meteorite, there's another thing that I want to talk about, which is, in my opinion, quite insane. I'm trying to... Wait, maybe... Yeah, this is gonna be enough fun. Nope. Here we go! So class, what do you think just freaking happened? This is to talk about the Meteorite property. So, I know, Squiddy. It's a rhetorical question because I'll explain it anyways. The idea with the Meteorite is, it is a projectile, and B, it is a set play tool. It has both of these 5U has every property in the game for some reason. So the idea is that it will always have one hit of projectile, and it will clash with one hit of projectiles. That's the given. And if you, for instance, get to clash with a projectile that is multi-hitted, the multi-hitted projectile will still move forward and do things that it needs to do. Yippee, Joy Rapture. But nevertheless, it still makes this Meteorite a very strong option. Because to talk about her tool's usage, 5U as a Seism, you can start thinking as not just a button, but as a special by itself. And one of the properties is that far medium 5U combos and far heavy 5U combos. If you get these options, you can get yourself some very meager reward off of this. And why do I have Gran on PTP? Man, I have a lot of labbing situations that I've done through, huh? Interesting. So, but if you have a Meteorite, suddenly those two options become a Meteorite hit. And Meteorite is very, very reminiscent to getting a counter hit 5U with some few caveats. So why it's gonna be your important tool is that you do not use it as in neutral, try to catch it as a projectile. You can, but it's particularly not useful as much, unless you want to plus frames lock down or force a person to spot dodge. But even then, if the person spot dodges the 5U, you're suddenly minus 20 and the Meteorite just disappears, and it's just... there's a reason why you don't particularly use it in neutral. So, where's the catch with the Meteorite? You want to use it as, quite literally, hit confirm tool. You are placing your meteorites as zones of threats where you're playing around those ranges. You get yourself a hit confirm, go 5U, get combo, get corner carry, life's good. There's another thing that you can use for, is that it is prominent in usage in anti-airs. If people are jumping on you while the meteorite is behind them, in most of the cases, you're gonna get yourself a 5U conversion just from the meteorite because it just combos naturally. 2H gives enough hit stun to get the meteorite to link in. What else is there about meteorites? So the difference between these meteorites and the speed, if you use the L version, it gives 1 level of meteorite. If you use M version, it gives you maximum level 4 meteorite from the get-go, but you spend a lot more setting it up. The EX one gives you 3 levels, puts you on cooldown, but it's a quick option to get yourself good area in general. Only caveat is that if it's gonna be on cooldown, one of the things about the meteorite is that each recast of the meteorite is gonna reposition the meteorite on them. The opponent's model is gonna be the center of the radius for the meteorite. So you have to remember that if you use the EX one, you are not gonna be able to reposition it for 8 seconds. This is the zone that you're playing with. So you're taking the risk that if your opponent is capable of controlling you and getting in on you, you suddenly lose a meteorite threat and it's far away and etc. The speeds of the meteorites have very big implications on how you use them in set play, and we'll get to when we'll go to the hit grab itself. Because hit grab and meteorite setup are 2 almost inseparable options to work with. Ultimate meteorite is gonna be a very common option to use your ultimate skills in general. Because by itself it's really good. I'm gonna rant a bit. It does not connect from far medium. It does connect from counter hit far medium. But it always connects from far heavy. And what do you get from doing the ultimate meteorite? You get whatever your heart desires. It is a very good far heavy hit confirm tool. And if you wanna hear a trick, how I personally hit confirm it, instead of looking for a hit stop or for the hit spark itself, notice that the character's model reels back instantly the moment he gets hit, and then gets put in the hit stop. What you can use this to your advantage is that if you see the reel, you go for the 2-2U. It's a very consistent way of hit confirming it. Squiddy, I'm gonna talk about that in later sections. Right now we're just talking in general about the tools. Holy shit, this is gonna be a long section, huh? So yeah, that's about it. There are a few cases where you wanna use it as well in a funny way, like for instance, yes, 6-6H does have some. You get yourself this little hit. Remember that the EX Will of the Earth has a wall bounce. If you get it high enough, the only time you're gonna be using this is to get yourself a hard knockdown from far away. That's the only case you're gonna be seeing it outside hit confirming. Except for there's one more, but this is gonna go into her game plan later on. Hit grab. Her air to ground hit grab option in general. L version just goes up, but it's ridiculously fast. It's 6 frame startup, and it's the only thing that combos from 5U. Other hit grab options do not combo off of this on regular hit. So you're gonna probably be using it mostly for this. M version puts her so far forward, it's a bit slower, but it covers a lot of ground. And because this is a hit grab, it wins against a lot of options in general. And, as I said before, it is a very strong option to deal with some pesky little moves called air stalls. So for instance, if Yule goes at this range and she tries to jump on you and you press 2H at the timing that usually you're gonna hit the jump in, you can just use the M grab. Forget that air stall exists. Or what if Yule just jumps in? Do the same at the same timing. Only caveat is that it does not do a lot of damage. It throws your opponent back to neutral in a sense, so you're back away. And because you're a grappler, you will need to cover that ground again. So this is mostly just to be safe with your anti-air approaches. And that's about it. EX version? I'll get to it. My opinion, forget the meteorite exists. You do shoot a projectile with it. You do shoot a projectile with it. Do not use this as a neutral tool. Neither a set play tool. Mostly because it is highly reactable. Let me just try to... Probably will not get to do this. Yeah, probably need to do it as Galleon myself. Switching characters this often. Fun times. No, Squiddy. No. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Anyways, enough about that. I'm gonna start ignoring the chat until the questions part comes in. So, for instance, this special in neutral is useless. Why would you do that? It does lock on a bit later, but the thing is, there are some certain timings that you can just get punished for. So I personally, for all the beginners, forget this meteorite exists. It does not. If it happens and the person gets hit in happenstance in the corner and whatnot, sure, you get yourself some combos. But other than that, it's... no. So what are the hit grabs that are going to be used outside for? So remember when I said that the hit grabs themselves are inseparable with meteorite, right? If you get yourself a hit in mid-screen, like for instance 5U into L hit grab, that's plus 30. What plus 30 means? Plus 30 means that you can press a meteorite. So suddenly, this situation, a small hit, returning back to neutral, at even state with a meteorite on deck. It is also particularly important to note that if you get yourself an opponent in corner, you usually are going to be using the M hit grab because it throws people further away but still leaves them at plus 30. You're more likely to be using meteorite close to them because you're putting them in a pressure situation. But here's the catch, because you're 0, you're basically playing a race in this position for the set play. So what two people do in this, you use the EX hit grab. It's gonna be your BMB combo ender in corner, because it leaves you plus 39. Plus 39 means that if you place a meteorite on them, your plus, you get to continue your turn and play Oki. It is very important to do that, because remember, the meteorite by itself causes mayhem with your hit confirms and what you can do in corner with her. And also, we're gonna get to the command grab, makes you a lot more threatening damage-wise. You have to remember to use it much. Do use it a lot, please. It's just, if you can and your combo with this in the corner, do it. It's BMB at this point. Ultimate version is your ultimate reversal. It is tied or even worse than Vikala's ultimate DP. It's probably called one of the worst reversals in the game from the ultimate DP standpoint. Mostly because it's a one hit that goes into a grab. It has a funny property that if the person is jumping and you used it and whiffed it, you still can grab them into the animation and get the hard knockdown, but it doesn't do damage. The damage comes from a combination of those, and it's like, come on! But it's still a reversal. You should still use it if you need to get space. There are positions that you should forget using it. Mostly there's like a funny option with Vayne, because if Vayne has a shield on you, and you just try to reversal it. Oh, wait, I need to probably do it from further away. Yeah, here we go. It's gonna hit the shield, and it doesn't really matter if Vayne is like near the shield or whatnot. And you think, okay, I'm just gonna defend against him, lol him out, because of not having another option off of it. You're not gonna get anything. So there are situations like that. Just remember that you're dealing with not a great reversal. It's still an ultimate DP reversal. It is 8-frame active. It is your bread and butter from sometimes to get out of very picky situations, or it's a good reactive tool in certain positions. What else? There's nothing much more to say there. So, let's get into our command grab. Whew, this is gonna be a doozy. So, command grab. Her command grab. Usually, if you've noticed, the L and M versions, animation-wise, don't have really big differences, but it has a difference on how it ends. The M version does more damage than the L one, 3200 for M and 2800 for L. If you really want to, you can do half circle forward to get yourself 10% damage increases on both of them. But, you know, you pick your poison. The idea with this command grab is that it's one of your bread and butters and how you're gonna be making yourself threatening in close range. The only issue is 21 frames. It's a very slow command grab, meaning that you're gonna be prone to get mashed out, or you're gonna get prone at certain level to be jumped out way easier, or even at certain cases reacted to. So how do you even use it? The one thing that this command grab got because of the startup is that it has obscenely large range. It is longer than Ladiva's ultimate command grabs. And in case of the ultimate command grab, it is the longest command grab in the game in range. Where is it? I think it's here. Yeah. It is ridiculous. It's also faster in Ultimate version. And because of it, you're gonna most of the time use either L grab in mid screen, because after the L grab, you get yourself to Oki. In corner, you're gonna be using more M grab if you just want the command grab by itself to get more damage and get yourself a better position. And Vayne, stop evading on wake up, goddammit. And there's the EX grab. It's also the same property as the M grab, just it launches higher. What does that higher mean? Particularly it means that yes, your Oki is gonna be better. You can't particularly get any combos off of them, unfortunately. You can also, if you really want to, with these command grabs, do combo into them. But it does not combo on standing. It combos on crouching. Yay! Unless it's ultimate. The ultimate always combos from auto combo. Or, funny enough, from other options like close heavy. or at very rare cases from far heavy. It can get ridiculous. So now, why would you want to combo into these command grabs by themselves? Remember I said with Meteorite, command grab triggers the Meteorite. It actually adds extra damage onto your confirms if you're using regular command grabs. But in case of the ultimate in the X1, this is where Meteorite becomes a very integral tool. So, in mid-screen, the EX command grab into Meteorite gives nothing. But, in corner, EX command grab gives you a far medium. Oh, shit. Yep. It gives you some option to press after 2M, far M, whatever. So suddenly, this command grab becomes a very threatening option, even more so if you have resources to spare. And it can get to ridiculous levels of her... Wait, come on, bro. Give me a Raging Strike. Match. Ah, yeah, right. It really depends where you hit it as well. Ah! And I'm not gonna go into the intricacies of this. I'm just gonna go a regular show. It suddenly becomes a bit, a tiny bit of damage here. Just a tiny bit. Just say it. But now, the idea with the command grabs, remember I said about the range itself, is that because of the range, people when they're mashing their lights off of certain positions, and why this threat becomes a very funny threat, like for instance some people just press crouching lights, you can do... Oops, knee block. Suddenly the buttons don't hit but the command grab hits. Same goes if you, for instance, pressure people in the corner at certain ranges where the 2L doesn't hit. And here, like, they would need to mash way harder to get yourself a hit. So you use both combination of your command grab range, Meteorite, and usage of the X1 if you really know that you're gonna hit them to get your maximizer damage. That's when Galleon becomes scary on offense. But now, why in mid-screen it becomes funny? Because in mid-screen when there's a Meteorite on the opponent, suddenly you can get yourself a hit from mid-screen and like that. Ultimate command grab, while being fast, highly damaging as well, is your way to make yourself quite a bit of threatening around mid-screens. Sometimes you're probably even gonna get something like this if you really want to cash out. If you really want to cash out. Now, you cannot really get Raging Strike off of the far medium at this range, but there is a thing that you probably don't need to work with, is a one-frame walk far light. Just there are a lot of things like that that you don't particularly need to look into just yet, only if you need to optimize yourself. In corner, it's gonna, with ultimate command grab, it's the same. You get yourself a hit, and if you have yourself an EX hand, suddenly you have a very fast, threatening Meteorite option with the command grab. So yeah, and also because of the combo ability of the command grab by itself, sometimes if you get yourself a... if you get yourself an auto combo in some way, shape, or capacity on them, and you see that you can get yourself a hit in, sometimes people just go for ultimate command grab and cash out off of it. In corner, it's even more important with that if you get yourself a corner, like a crouching confirm, because then you go for the EX grab and suddenly becomes your combo starter that you can pull up people with. But yeah, that's that about the command grab. More about it is gonna be in the later sections. Holy man, it's been an hour already. We only went through the specials. Alright, there's this. What is this? It's called Muddy Embrace. How do I even begin with this one? So technically, this is a air-to-ground command grab. It's quite damaging. Its Oki is pretty bad. Sometimes people would think it's an anti-air, but it has one little problem. It absolutely whips on crouchers, and it has insane amounts of recovery. You can even, and I joke you not, press 2H, get a counter hit, and even if you whiff the 2H while crouching it, it's still gonna whiff you. Because 2Hs are crouching buttons, in a sense. So what's the point of this special? The point of this special is to either catch your opponent sleeping, or there are very few actual legit reasons to use it, and I can show you now what. The first one I showed is that you can get the Lol Lamao combo if you really want to. Wait. You can get yourself a combo like this if you really want to get and style on people. Is most of the time not worth it, but it's style points. The other thing that you can do with it is quite literally matchup interactions. There is, like for instance, a very good example I can give you where Anilla has this little ultimate fireball called the Ultimate Sheeps. Technically, you can jump it with a lot of characters, like for instance if I just take the Gran at certain ranges. If I see the sheep, I can super jump into full punish. Galleon, because of her jump arc, cannot do this in any way, shape, or capacity. So the other way that you're gonna be using it is you're using it like this. This is a guaranteed punish for using it from this range. There are other cases where you can use it in, like, for instance, Fairy matchup, but that is another sad story of its own. Like, for instance, if you see Fairy going for an M grab in neutral, you can go for it and react to it in a sense. But yeah. What's the difference between the grabs themselves is that the L grab has a shallow angle, the M grab has a further angle, the EX one has the furthest angle, but at the same time it kinda locks in where the opponent is, and the ultimate one adapts with how you need at the spacings and whatnot. And it still sucks. I'm sorry, I couldn't hide this. I can't with a straight face talk about this, but like, I genuinely, from my experience, I forget the special exists. So you particularly don't think about it. It even sucks as a combo ender. And that's about it. I guess I can go through what I've missed. It's the jumping buttons. So the jumping buttons, jump light, active till landing, your standard jump light in general. You're not gonna particularly use it unless you need to be fast and work with it. The M1 is gonna be your go-to grappler jump button. It reaches pretty far away when it comes to jumping, and there are certain spacings that you can get yourself good with punishes and whatnot. It's a good grappler jump, sir. Jump heavy is gonna be your B&B jumping. You still need a bit of a deeper jump in for it to work. And jump U is gonna be your cross-up option. That's about it with the jump in buttons. Supers. So supers, to talk about the supers in general. Right, jump U is also active to landing. It doesn't particularly... You don't particularly really want to do it with active till landing, because if you hit it the first frame, you're particularly not getting anything off of it. So you just time the cross-up button to get yourself something if you want to get a hit. It's like not particularly fair. Like jump light has more uses as a fully active option than the jump U itself. So supers. Her supers are command grabs. Jump light. Let's talk about SBA and SSBA as command grab for starters, and then we're gonna get to the third super that she has. Only issue with this is that they are 11 frame startup, but if you've noticed, at freeze frame it stopped at 10, and when it used it, it stopped at 11. That means it's not 0 post flash, meaning that you are capable of jumping after the flash freeze. Same goes with the SSBA. It works the similar way. Right? Right. So, how you use them? You use them as your combo finisher tools. It's quite decent damage at positions. Hell, it kills BP. It's natural with any of the supers. They do quite a bit of damage. But there's now a thing to talk about those supers outside of it. As a reversal option, it actually has really good implications. 11 frames and... what was it? And also 11 frames on the SSBA, they are obscenely fast. And they have another thing that ties to them. Because they're not 0 post flash, they have range. And they have quite a bit of range. SSBA itself has a lot of range. So how do you use it? If you want to use it as a reversal option, if say, let's take, what's a common character that can do this? Jita. Jita's a pretty good option for this. So say if Jita is doing 6XL far light 2 node, actually not, that's not the one. Which one? There was a good example, I just don't remember which one. Alright, I think Vera with the UO as well, but I think Vera is fine as well. Deep 6XL far light 2M. This is a very common wanna go for just strikes string. After the far light, you can challenge her 2M. It is usable as a reversal option against these kind of strings. Do I recommend using it? No. Alright, and also it is makes the close light not safe. Squiddy's right here. I just need to use the thing how you people do. Yes, I don't use the easy input that much, but it does make close light not that safe, or even far light. Yeah. Now her other option, which is the projectile version of her SBA. There are reasons to use it in the corner as a set play damage tool. It can make some dead combos more optimal, but the most common way of using it, what I've noticed, is this. You counter hit confirm this. You use the M meteorite, confirm it into a full combo. This is probably the most common way I've seen it being used. Because there are like ways of using it, like for instance, you get yourself a hit in the corner and then you go for... Come on. This combos! Bruh. Yeah. You get a 2H, you go for the SBA here. You can do the same thing as well. If you get a 2H in the corner from on the X hand. It has reasons to do so. Sometimes you can expend the meteorite to get damage. Sometimes you can just place a meteorite, still pick them up afterwards, and create a position where you do not need to set up a meteorite afterwards. It is a niche application of the super. And you're gonna be mostly, if you're gonna be using a super, you're gonna be using the command grab ones as your combo enders and whatnot. It's better to not overcook yourself by thinking about the SBA project just now. And by the way, reminder, this is not a full Galleon crash course. This is a crash course for beginners. Just reminding to everybody. Because everybody that wants to pick this character, I'm just trying to talk it through. Whew. Alright, so that I went through the buttons and the specials themselves. Before I go into her BMBs and situations that you're going to be creating, are there any questions about the specials, about the buttons itself? I saw one question that had that the 66H has invincibility frames. Yes! Yes, you do have some level of invincibility frames. And how do I show this? Is it worth it to use it in any way, shape, or capacity? No. No, it's not. Yeah, here we go. It does have some, but the thing is, the forward moving part is not invincible. The hit itself is invincible. So you're already active when you're doing the invincible move by itself. It's like, no, you're not gonna find good ways of using it. I haven't found good ways of using it. The question is, what are the best defensive options besides BC? We're gonna talk about when we're gonna get to the defense, so it's not in this section. It's about specials and buttons. Right, there is the way of using it as an anti-air. Like, for instance, because of the invincibility property itself. And you can get some funky things with it. But it's awkward to use it in general. What else? Any more questions before I go into our next section? There's gonna be, now we've just passed the first major section, which is basically talking about her things, in a sense. Now I'll be talking about her BMB in mid-screen, corner, anti-airs, some cash outs, and some common sequences that you can do. When do you use 236L? 236L is a safe ender in a sense. If people roll it or spot dodge it, it's still gonna be -2. It's the same principle, really. Just you're gonna get pushed out. You use 236L is either a very spaced out projectile-esque option against, you know, very twitchy people. Sometimes what I like to do with the 236L is to use it as a very safe frame trap option, or I like to use it as, let me just think how to represent this. If you do a spaced out, hell, I probably need to pick somebody that's pretty good at this. If with Galleon I'm doing a spaced out pressure string, if the person wants to take its turn with a 6XL, because of the -2 property, at very spaced ranges, where most of the buttons are not gonna hit, even if you're frame 1, it's gonna counter hit the 6XL. This is a rare application, of course. You need to know the habits and how people take their turns back after certain situations. But statistically, because this button is just that busted, you can probably deter people from taking the turn back like that and play it in longer range. But that's like one of the few reasons why I've gone through it. If I have to be a lot more harsh about it, until Mr. Cygames, John Cygames themselves decide that the 236L by itself should combo in the corner into something, it is a very low risk, low reward option. You cannot get anything out of counter hit. It doesn't particularly even change properties that much. So, John Cygames. Okay, if that's that, I can go into our next part, which is what I call the BMBs. So let's start with a few BMBs. Mid-screen. We'll start with mid-screen. So very commonly, if you get yourself any auto combo, here you can choose what to do. You can do El Will of the Earth, and this is just gonna probably just give you a good enough Oki to 6XL afterwards. You can use the X1 if you really want the damage. But what you're gonna usually be using is gonna be the 5U. Why 5U? There are a few reasons. First reason is if you do 5U, you're plus 39. So 5U into Meteorite setup makes them plus 9 in the position where the ultimate command grab hits and you can get yourself a hit. It also makes it so that if you want to be cheeky and you see people walking out of that, usually the 5U is gonna catch them. Depends on the walkback speed, of course. Some matchups can walk out, some can't. And if you do the 5U itself, the Meteorite hit drops down, you get plus frames and whatnot. Because I forgot to say the fact that if the Meteorite is blocked, I'll talk about the low as well. Yeah, I'll get to that too soon. It's in the common sequences. You're like plus a million if they decide to block the Meteorite itself. The other option that you can use in mid-screen with the 5U is that if you really need the corner carry, you go for the L grab. Because 5U by itself, as I said before, only hit confirms into L hit grab. And lastly, the mid-screen one is using the ultimate hand, which gets you crumple into some corner shenanigans. Some advanced options of this is you get to the corner and you start doing some nasty links, but other than that, I'm not gonna go into these combos. These are gonna be after the fact and when you're gonna pick up the character and whatnot. Whew. So that's mostly about the mid-screen. The other one is Raging Strike, Raging Chain. The simple Raging Strike, Raging Chain combo is close medium auto combo pickup into M hit grab. That's quite a bit of corner carry by itself if you really need to. The other choice is if you want to spend meter is this little bad boy. 2U free hits, Iraq's hand, ultimate hand, double Lincoln. Hold up, I missed the 6H. Wow, I'm missing that dash, huh? Interesting. This is the optimal Raging Strike, Raging Chain bar usage because you get to close heavy here as well, man. But it has some unfun links in it, so at your discretion. Here we go. This is the optimal Raging Strike, Raging Chain in mid-screen conversion. If you really need the damage and you have the bar to spare, usually you want to use that. Because the combo itself refunds it, so in total it costs 1 BP and 50 bar. Common sequences in mid-screen is you're gonna probably get yourself a lot of 6XLs in. You're gonna be using a lot of far heavies outside of the range or far mediums if you really need to backdash far medium for the spacings. Or 6XLs. If you get yourself a 6XL, it combos only into far light, and from there you can only get yourself some Will of the Earths, and you're gonna be spending the X1 to get the most out of it. You get a lot of corner carry, you get yourself to move forward. That's what you want as Galleon. Unless in some rare cases and you have a plan, a grand plan, you set up a meteorite and move forward. Another thing that you're gonna get commonly is on block situations. So on block, your cancel game has a certain rock, paper, scissors. There is rock, paper, scissors with mediums and light buttons in a sense, but with far heavy, oh boy, let's talk about far heavy. Even if it's gonna be a very extremely strong button to go for with really good hit confirm game that you can use for, and everything, almost everything combos except for the M1, and even you can get the 5U itself, right? It's a really good button. It has a small caveat. Nothing that you cancel into is a frame trap except for the M Will of the Earth. So for instance, if there's an M Will of the Earth, spot dodge is gonna spot dodge and you're gonna get positioned to punish it most of the time. But now there's a catch here with this, because it's not gonna be a frame trap, all of that is gonna be a true block string. A true block string means that you overlap the block stuns by themselves, making that you by yourself cannot act anything until the block stun ends. Why is it important for Galleon? Far heavy 5U is, how should I say, is massive. So with far heavy 5U, this becomes your quote-unquote frame trap. Because this is a true block string, it means that if you are blocking standing, you're gonna get hit. But you know what else makes it standing? If you need to spot dodge, if you need to do a reversal, and whatnot. If you need to press a button to, for instance, if a person sets a meteorite, which is, by the way, -12, which means that you can get yourself a instant 6XL as a punish. Here we go. You can punish people. Some characters just outright get themselves a button on you and start things. But because you are not particularly discerning the meteorite itself, you're not reacting to the meteorite, you're reacting to the cancel. Hence why it makes it that this 5U becomes your kind of a frame trap option. It catches everything that people would like to do on a cancel from far heavy. It's gonna work a lot in the lower levels, believe me. Because you have to remember that you have to block it all in crouching. But it has uses outside of it. 5M into 5U does not have that property. So when you have the 5M 5U, you can spot dodge suddenly here and be yourself +15, which, you know, becomes funny in a sense. The same goes with any other cancels that you do. Spot dodge by itself becomes really strong. You are effectively avoiding everything that Galleon can do from the medium buttons. But that's where Meteorite comes in. If you cancel the Meteorite, because remember, people are not gonna be looking out for things. If they're spot dodging every cancel that you do, suddenly they're -13. And it becomes like this. Actually, I should do it the other way around. Here we go. It is a tighter link, but you get yourself a counter hit punish. And on counter hit far heavy, it can get to very ridiculous levels of things that you can do. So this is a very important thing. Usually I recommend to not go for Meteorite unless you see people starting to press evade after your cancels in mid-screen. I know, Squiddy, I'm just not showing the optimal things, I'm just winging it right now. Shh! Optimality will come with time. My goal is just to show situations that can happen. Can opponent fuzzy jump out of this? No. No, they cannot. Well, they can fuzzy jump out of the 5U itself. Get a punish. And 236M. And even if you're fuzzy jumping them, sometimes you don't even gonna get themselves a punish. But the problem is that if the person starts to do Meteorite and you're doing the fuzzy jump because you're, let's say, you're fuzzy jumping to the cancel itself, you still can untier their ass. So yeah, these are like the common things in mid-screen that you're gonna get. Jumping backward is a bit more iffy, but backwards, I'm gonna get to that into the counterplay section. So we will get to it later. But yeah, that's it with mid-screen for now. Corner. So corner BNB, there are two BNBs. The first one is if you have a Meteorite, and the other one is when you don't have a Meteorite. So let's start with the Meteorite list, because that's gonna be the most common thing that you're gonna get. The easy version is medium button, pick up after the EX hand, into EX hit grab. and you set up Meteorite. This is the easy version. The advanced version becomes like this, where you 6XL pick up close light, close medium into full conversion. It does a bit more damage, but it opens up some other things later on. Yeah, there are a few things that you can do with it. There is a, if I remember right, a setup for safe jab option, but it's very tight, and it only works if you get yourself a frame perfect 6XL pickup and whatnot. Usually what I like to do is, even if you get yourself a further away hand, 6XL is just gonna stabilize the combo. So the easy version, if you have a full auto combo and cap them in midstream, close medium into full auto combo into pick up into this. The same situation happens if you are from further away and you need, or the same works with from close by, 6XL, close light, close medium. A bit more damage, more stable. Same situation. Now, when you have the Meteorite, you can start thinking of how to use the Meteorite itself. A common way of using the Meteorite is, if you get yourself a far medium or far heavy at ranges, you pick this up with 6XH. Same, by the way, applies in mid-screen. The BNB is 6XH off of the Meteorite hit into close heavy pickup into M hit grab. If you're next to the corner, you use the EX hit grab. Like for instance, if it's here, and you do the auto combo and you see you're next to the corner, you do the EX hit grab, because then it's gonna be same setup at +9. You have to think about which hit grab you want to do at which kind of situation you're trying to achieve. So in the corner, when you have the Meteorite, instead of going for the 6XH full pickup into auto combo, as you can do in mid-screen, it still works the same. You do close heavy, hand, close heavy, Raging Strike if you want to use the super, but usually you're gonna end it up with double auto combo into EX hit grab. It loops the situation because you now have a Meteorite, and because the hit grab takes a lot of time, you are gonna have most of the cooldowns back by the time of it. The second way of getting the Meteorite to hit in the corner is using the EX hit grab, the command grab. The pickup is far medium into EX grab, or if you don't have the EX hand, you use Raging Strike if you are planning to use the super. It's gonna be very similar in a way. Now there's one more way how you can use the Meteorite to get a combo in the corner, and that is when you get yourself a full auto combo, EX hand combos into 2H. 2H into 5U with a Meteorite is the only way to link in non-counter hit Meteorite without hitting the 5U. So if you have a Meteorite, you do the hand 2H, this Meteorite hits. So you have to start thinking about it from the perspective that you hit yourself a Meteorite after that. So the combo starts looking like this. 6XH, you teleport back, pick up close heavy into EX grab if I remember right. This happens rare, but if you want to use your combos, yeah, double hit into EX hit grab. Otherwise, if you want to do the super and see the potential, teleport back, close heavy, Raging Strike, close heavy, super. This is like one of the few combos where the 6XH teleport back is important. With the 6xh comboing by itself, you have to think of it as a course correction option. You're course correcting the combo. Like sometimes you even need to side switch or whatnot with the 6xh. Like there are situations that you can side switch off of this, but sometimes if you want to not lose the side, you teleport back. It's done by 6xh and holding a direction, by the way. I forgot to tell that. But this is like the only few times where it actually matters. So common cases in the corner, how you're gonna be playing is what if you messed up 6xh forward in which situation? Let's get this situation. What time is it even now? Oh my goodness, it's almost 9. Oh, if you messed up in the corner. Oops. Fuck. Madge. Missing the link. If you messed up, if you don't want to even try it, by the way, you can use the close heavy. The thing is, if you mess up the 6xh in this position, you still can do the close heavy. The thing is, getting into habit to teleport back is gonna be good in the long term because there are few plus some block far heavy setups that uses the teleport back. Hence why I started with the teleport back. Otherwise, if you mess up, it's just close heavy. It's the same thing. So some common situations in the corner that you're gonna be going for, as I said, is mostly you are pressuring the person and then you threaten them with the command grab. Or you create situations where you're confirming into Meteorite to hit. And when you have enough mental stack and people do fear doing things around it or they're looking for a command grab, that's where you can start doing throws and start doing other shenanigans. Like this is the main gimmick of Galleon. You use command grab and Meteorites as your threat. And when your threat is at its peak highest, you can start going to do, I would say, just cash out mental stack options, like for instance the command grab. But yeah, Chi is very simple from the combo side of the things. It is mostly just contextual how to use it, and it really requires you to have a Meteorite. In my opinion, in neutral and anybody in set play, neutral and whatnot, if you have a possibility to put out a Meteorite, you kind of want to do it. This is your BMB. So this is why it makes this character a lot difficult and complex in that, in the context of where you place the Meteorites and how you use them, how do you remember when to use them, or what kind of threat you're creating. Otherwise, she's very simple from the combo game. Hell, if you want to get yourself a Meteorite-less full cash out, in the corner, it will look EXan, close heavy, Raging Strike, close heavy auto combo, Raging Strike, close heavy auto combo in the super. This is the highest damage you're gonna get from one special without a Meteorite. Because of the Galleon's disposition that this is your only launcher in the corner without a Meteorite. The Meteorite becomes your second launcher. Anti-air game is weird. You're gonna have to accept the fact that's gonna be weird. So with anti-airing, if you don't get any counter hit, you're gonna probably end it on 2H hit grab. It's gonna return back to neutral. That's like the best that you're gonna get. If you get a deep hit with the 2H, you can get yourself a 2-6M, which is similar as getting a 5U. With it, you can start doing shenanigans like save jumps. You can start doing the cursed combos if you really want to, but it really depends when you get it. Like, if it's very deep, then now you got it. Welcome to the anti-air game with this character. But usually it's gonna be 2-6M into something, I guess. The thing is, you need to be very fast. That's probably the best that you want to get. But now, here begins where the context and resources come in. If you get a non-counter hit but there's a meteorite, it's the same as getting the 6XH for the anti-air. So if you're forcing people to jump, you kind of want to force them to have a meteorite behind, because then this becomes a very, very good anti-air in general. Now it becomes dangerous. And the other choice is you use the Raging Strike, Raging Chain. Oh shit, I shouldn't have done that, because you're gonna mess that up. If you get a very high Raging Strike into Raging Chain, you can get yourself a close heavy to Link. But you should probably, for the sake of brevity, just use the close medium. If you really want to spend meter here, you can do some shenanigans with the hand. Like, for instance, like this. This is, you're spending the hand to get a hard knockdown that is gonna give you enough time to set up a M meteorite behind them. And you still get to do your things as you want to. I think if you use not the M meteorite but the regular meteorite, you even get a safe jump. But I personally don't particularly bother with that. I usually just keep it simple stupid, because if you need to anti-air somebody and you need to go full auto combo into M grab, why not just take the corner carry with this character? You want corner carry. Also, there is one more thing that is gonna be common with set play and whatnot, and it's gonna be with the 5U itself. There's also with the 2-6M, but it's gonna be a bit more difficult about it. And I'm gonna get that when we'll be talking about strategy of this character in general. So yeah, these are like the common positions that you're gonna get to play Galleon. Are there any questions about this? With the BMBs and whatnot, or how to use resources? Before I move on to the last section. Use U-Claw with the meteorite already set. You can use it with the meteorite set as well. The thing is, remember, resetting the meteorite increases its level or pushes it somewhere else. So for instance, if you do have a meteorite in Narnia, and they still decide to jump, you can reset the meteorite. Just you put it in the other position. So that is how it works. Just you don't need to really think about it. The meteorite, if you do have the cooldown, is gonna be set up where you need to. And if you already have a level, you're just increasing the level. So it's just an added benefit to it. Granted, if you already had the meteorite, as I said, why not just take the risk and plunge it into the 5U? Even if the 5U is in Narnia. Actually, like this. Even if 5U is in Narnia, you can still take the risk and you use it and it's whatever your 0. Because the idea of the reward of getting off of the meteorite is so huge, why would you not go for it? Unless you really need to kill, then you just go for Raging Strike, Raging Chain, because it's safe like that. Anything else? Ooh. While I'm sitting here thinking how to go with this last section, because this one is gonna be a doozy. I'm not sure how to use U Meteorite and when not to. There are two cases where you want to use U Meteorite. The first one, as I said, far H into U Meteorite, or there are cases where you can do this. Wait. These two combo, but this is a bit hard. Yeah, this combos, in a sense. It can combo, should you go for it, because the confirmed range that you're gonna probably get it is not to be scoffed off, so... yeah, not particularly worth it. Usually what people will probably do is, if it's like in the next to the corner with the 2U, if you don't need to hit confirm it, it's gonna look like this. Something like that. The other one is, as I said, is that from just the combo ability, Raging Strike, Raging Chain, if you have a person high enough, you can get yourself a 2-2U hard knockdown. Alright, I forgot to talk about the anti-airs and the counter hit spectrum. So if it's counter hit, I already showed that the super was there, but there are a few other things. So if you get a regular hit with the counter hit and you're thinking it's gonna be counter hit, you just use U-Hand, linked in. You don't cancel it, you wait for it. The other choice is if they are close enough and they got hit high enough, you can get yourself a 6-6H pickup. This is contextual. You cannot place the L Meteorite after that hard knockdown because you are putting yourself on cooldown. It's 4 seconds, but it's still enough to not being able to press a Meteorite. Whew. And there's one more thing that you can do with the counter hit itself. If I remember right. Oops, no, that's not what I mean. Let me just see if I can do it. How it was. Nah, I don't remember. It really is spacing positioning. Because you can use the meteorite to your advantage a bit. But really needs you to get the hits in. Like, yeah, I remembered. You use the meteorite, and then if it's high enough, this link, you are not gonna get anything, but you have a meteorite on them, which you can then play a bit of tempo. But that's like very, very niche again. It really depends on how you want to place the meteorites after the fact or during the combo. But that's a whole other, a bit beyond the beginner level with playing with Galleon. Okay, so if there's nothing else, let's start strategy, which is gonna be the last section of this. So it's gonna be split in neutral, offense, and defense. Starting with neutral, your goal with Galleon, as with every other character, is to put your opponent in the corner. Because in the corner, you're the most effective and the most scariest. In mid-screen, you're playing more of a slower, methodical game. You have really good walk speed, and you're not going to be dashing into the people as much. You want to put yourself in the spacings where you can get meteorite and create threat, to use that threat to your advantage and play it around. Usually, it's going to be mostly every hit that you get has to convert into some level of space gain, corner carry, and whatnot. So even if you get yourself a 5U, usually people at this range likes to do this. I tend to not do this unless I really need the health advantage or I really need to kill. Because usually you use the 5Us to run in onto people. You want to play into positions that can net you more corner carry. One of the core ways of getting corner carry, if you believe it or not, is the L command grab from pressure situations. Because you still get to Oki people afterwards, and it's gonna get you a bit of squirming around people. It's potential corner carry in a sense. So yeah, neutral, just using far heavy, far medium. Use the X Will of the Earth to get plus frames and get in, or to catch people and push them away. 5U as a preemptive option from them moving forward, or to use it from further away to catch certain options. Everything that you're gonna be doing has to result in walking forward or running forward. Getting into position where you can start being more of a threat from the close range, as all grapplers do. Offense is gonna mostly result in block strings, what kind of strings you can do, what kind of cancel game you can do. I've talked about the cancel game with the evades and whatnot. That's a lot more complex and more into how you condition the opponent you're playing against and how well they understand Galleon. So it's not gonna be important until they start counterplaying it. So take it with this kind of grain of salt. Cancel the specials that you need to until people start playing around it. Because there's no reason to adapt to things that people are not adapting to. And now how to incorporate command grabs into your offense. There are a few ways. First of all, fun fact. Auto combo into command grab, you still can command grab them. The throw protection runs out in time. Same goes with 2L cancel into command grab. Same goes into close light command grab. Same goes with the far light command grab as well. You can use command grabs as a cancel options. Except from the heavy buttons, yes. Heavy buttons are not gonna give you... Well, technically. Close heavy just sucks like that, man. Yeah, I'm gonna get to 2U just in a bit, because 2U is where well, as I said, it has a reason to exist, but it's still a very shitty 2U. So, to incorporate command grabs by itself, you're trying to play around the ranges where they are least expecting to command grab. Like this. Or you're trying to play tempo in a sense. Like, you have wake up in a sense. Like that. You cannot, by the way, do this with the ultimate one. Technically. From mediums into ultimate ones do work, but the thing is, they work later. That's the catch. They work later. Because the command grab by itself is very active. And I'll show you how you can use that active frames to your advantage. Another way to get a command grab is what I usually like to do, is when you get yourself, remember when I said that you get yourself a 5U hit confirm? Like this. They get to air reset to land on the ground. What you can do with this, if you get any 5U, you can run up and do the command grab. You can even do it earlier than they land on the ground due to active frames from the command grab. This is a legit way of catching people unprepared or making them to play somewhere around it. Hell, how late can I get this? Yeah, here we go. That's like a very late command grab hit. Because they still need to land and they will have throw protection for themselves, but at the same time, you already force a position where they need to be prepared for the command grab. And when you're forcing them to be prepared for the command grab, that's where you open more ways of getting on them. 6XL, 2M, far mediums, like any like EX hand and whatnot. And now, let's talk about the shitty 2U. Purpose is a combo fodder tool, or it has a very, very specific reasoning. Because of its free hit property, you can cancel each of these hits differently. Meaning that you can cancel it into command grab. And it will work. And there is a pseudo 50-50 in a sense, that when you have a meteorite on them, 2U into EX grab is a legit way to do. And you know what you can mix this up with? EX hand. You can also cancel into it. And if the person is just reacting to the cancel and just to play around that situation, they will be caught by it. It's basically her cheeky strike throw. There is a fuzzy timing for the backdash, but you kind of control it by depending when you decide to cancel the 2U. It's still on your advantage. And the only thing that you are kind of putting yourself in the position of danger is that it is very, very, very easily be seeable into counter hit. So you're particularly doing this, putting yourself in a iffy position most of the time. But it is a way to force a person to guess. I personally don't use 2U that much, mostly because of how a lot of people BC multi-hits. But it can work if you are struggling to find ways to make a person to open up. And lastly, there's one more mix-up, quote-unquote, that I like to introduce to people. And it's mostly has to do with how dangerous is the ultimate command grab. The ultimate command grab by itself is very strong. It's very fast. It reaches to Narnia. But there's a catch. Because it's a blue flash,
you are able to react to it just reacting to the blue itself, to the blue screen flash. But here's the funny part about this. Because you're not discerning what you're reacting to, there are legit ways of using 2-2U and 2EX hand, ultimate hand. For instance, if you have a person on Meteorite and you go for a hand, and the person jumps, they get clipped by the hand. If they are late on the reaction, they will be hit on ground and it will be a crumple. The same goes with the Meteorite. If you want to threaten the ultimate command grab, you can use this, because if they have the combination of the command grab with him, this kind of tricks the animation to look very similar to the command grab. Because the hand itself is way easier to be discerned as a strike. And there are legit high-level players that use this as a mix-up tool just to use the blue flash reaction onto it. Because in the end of the day, in mid-screen, if you really want that command grab damage and make them really fear the command grab, you're gonna be spending this. L command grab is good if you know how to condition the person, but the ultimate command grab, sometimes you don't even need to condition the person, it's just gonna work. No joke. It's a it's probably a thing that makes her extremely strong. In certain situations of pressure. I mean, I will add that for people to now rage bait clip this situation and, you know, use it to their advantage. So, so offense just looks like this. Mostly you're looking to put out Meteorite, use Meteorite to your own advantage, or to force people to block enough to start conditioning command grabs. And when you have both of them worked in and the person just fears and looks out for everything, that's where throws start to work as well. Because throw is also good enough damage, and if you see, they actually leave the person in one place. You're not going to be using it in mid-screen as much as you're going to be using it in the corner, because in corner you get your +7 with the Meteorite on top of that. It's another way of getting a Meteorite on the opponent. Defense. Oh boy. So, defense with this character is gonna be hard, honestly. Defense by itself has caveats when you think about the defense of what you're trying to press in pressure situations to get out of the position, right? Usually you want to block out most of the pressure situations but done by other characters. Galleon is just an example. And if they leave themselves a negative, you usually want to take your turn back with the 6XL itself. But here's the catch, why 6XL? Because you want to create a situation where you get yourself a close button hit when you're cornered. Why? Because remember the 5U? That you can get yourself a save jump, or you can get yourself a Meteorite that you can threaten the ultimate command grab in it. Right? There's another thing that you can use 5U for, and I think this kind of stitches her defense together. If you get a close button, you can dash under. And this counts as infinite corner carry when you think about it. Because you suddenly switch around the corner position. And remember, most of the interactions and combos that you want to go for has to result in the most corner carry. Sometimes, even in certain situations, you're gonna get yourself a 5U and just run under because they're gonna be closer to the corner that way. You can do the same with if you use far heavy as a defensive option. If you use it as a defensive option, 66H, oh damn, I messed up. At certain spaces, the 2-2U conversion into 2, man, I don't want a DP, mage. At certain ranges, this conversion also gives a side switch. It's just a lot harder to get it. Because it needs to be at a certain height, and if you need to do it very tight. Hold up, let me just get it done. Yeah, it's possible, just it needs to be a lot. It's a lot to be desired. Because you need a high 236M hit, and 236M converts from 2H, and that way it kind of, because on close range hit you cannot get it, but at high height it becomes very similar to 5U that you can just run under. I'm not gonna get it in this because I'm getting it already. Whew. Other than that, your defensive options are you're gonna be usually 2L far light, Raging Strike, Raging Chain out if you really need to, BC if they use the BCable options that are not fake, and you just move forward in a sense. Even if you get a counter hit BC, you cannot side switch. If you see them walking back, 2M is pretty okay. And there's one last thing, is the 5U. Oh boy. So 5U as a defensive option is both useful and stupid at the same time. Mostly because it deals with a very certain position that you're trying to catch. And that is, say, a person really likes to do 6XL, walk back 6XL. Because if you try to press a button, a far light button, you're gonna whiff and they're gonna continue on. This walking back can get you a bit of leeway. Because if you get a counter hit, that's a side switch. And you can get some nasty combos out of it, if you really want to. Because counter hit 5U, if you get a counter hit 5U itself, you can almost guarantee yourself a side switch. In any case position. Side switch is more important than damage, but there's a 2-frame window to get yourself a second hit if you really want to. And that is if you're fast. Like, you need to get the 5U, hit confirm it, 6XH the first hit on frame 1, and then get a 2-frame window afterwards. It's not easy, but it's possible, and it's the reason why I kinda still use 5U from time to time if I see long-range reset situations or attempts to use specials. Hell, it's even useful in some matchup interactions, like for instance with Beatrix. Beatrix has this very funny knowledge check, which is the M Star Chaser. It is plus 1,000,000 reset option off a far heavy, but you can react, counter hit, and get yourself the counter hit 5U. Like, learning which characters you can use this with full confidence is helpful, and that's why I'm gonna be telling this as more of an addendum at the end, but I'll probably repeat it later on. The simpler the character, the more it's gonna be playing around character interactions and matchups. You'll be looking out for advantages in those, and Galleon is very, very simple when you think about it. She's only complex in contextual positions, and that complexity also doesn't help her with some of, the chains that the John Sai games has put on her. But other than that, you're mostly gonna be looking for advantages in the matchups. But yeah, other than that, defensively, you want to get the close button hit into 5U side switch if possible. Other than that, Raging Strike, Raging Chain is probably your best bet to return back to the mid screen. You don't want to be cornered yourself, honestly, because your risk reward kinda is not great, and you don't have a lot of natural ways of side switching. If you want to use far heavy, you only use it far heavy if the person gives you leeway. Usually you're going to be using far light. Hell, even using medium buttons in some matchups is not going to be cut it. Because let me tell you, there's a little funny character in this game called Metera, where she is capable of doing 6XL far light, 6XL, and after far light, if I did it right, no, I did not do it right. Yeah. This should not work. A tight 6XL is gonna hit the far medium because Metera's is +2 on far light. And I just don't know if I can get it right from the get-go now. Ah, here we go. You cannot press a medium button after far light, because it's an 8-framer. This is like one of the weaknesses of the 8-framers in general of this game. That's why in this position you have to press a far light, which is not ideal. Not ideal. Another weakness of the 8-framers is that you are not particularly going to be good at pressuring certain characters. Which one I can take? A good 2L'er. Yeah, you kind of create this kind of funny situation of you get yourself a far light on Catalina per se. No, I know. There is a very good example. I just remembered. It's Zoe. Man, I hate pressuring Zoe. So Zoe has this little small thing called Skaterboard to you. Far light, far medium is a trade for Zoe. And it's a hard knockdown trade. It's a good trade. That means you can't even press, you can press it in 2M, it's gonna clash, but it's probably gonna be bad for you. She can press 2U, and sometimes you need to then start switching how you pressure the person with cancels themselves. If you're really very fast, you do this and you take full reward. But that's like a hard read. It's not gonna particularly help you. Whew. But yeah, that's like the weaknesses of the far mediums, and that's why particularly you're not gonna be pressing this on defense as much unless it's from further away. Far light is gonna be your friend. Far light, 2L are your friends. Usually you're gonna be fuzzying with standing light as well. And yeah, that's that. I think I don't particularly have much to say unless there are questions. Oh boy, I've talked for a bit. Whew. So I'm gonna be waiting for a few minutes for questions, and I'll answer them one by one. So this is the section for questions about Galleon, and then I'll finish this up with counterplay against Galleon. Very free. Next. The question is, who's her hardest matchup, just out of pure curiosity? Very. So, questions, and then I'll be talking about the counterplay. As I said, I'm waiting for questions. Few minutes, and then if there are none, I'll go into counterplay, and then it's gonna be closing things. I get to rest my voice for a bit. Oh my. When do you do M grab over light grab? You do M grab only in corner, basically. The thing is, M grab by itself creates a position where you're plus 37, so when you do the M grab by itself, in corner you get to do more damage and set up yourself a meteorite, which is very helpful for you. You cannot do that with L command grab in corner if you really want to take the tempo, because you're negative then. And another thing is, I genuinely, if you're using M grab in mid screen, you're trolling. The L command grab gives you to do 400 damage less, but you at least get to do Oki. I genuinely think that M command grab in mid-screen is not a good idea. Mostly because you're only cashing out extra damage. Hell, sure, if you do it a technical one, 3,520 damage. Versus a technical L command grab, which is 3,500 damage less. With Oki. I think Oki wins. Plus, you can do some cheeky shenanigans like Lola Mao, I'm a grappler. Lola Mama grab them. Uh, 236H, 236U, mid screen. I mean, you're talking about this? I mean, you can use it, but if you're using a 236U, it's like, it's a cheaper option to go for it, sure. You don't get 66H. You're not gonna get anything in, so... What? No, the thing is, you are not getting 66H in this position. It's too low. You don't have far heavy to confirm it into anything at the same time. Into what? The thing is, the only thing that you're gonna be converting off of this position is to end it with the... with a hit grab, because you're not gonna get anything off of this unless you're closer to the corner. If it's a bit further away from the corner, suddenly you're not getting anything. And hell, if you're next to the corner, you might as well just spend the extra 50 bar to get this. That's my opinion. Not 63L. I mean, really, as I said, depends where you hit it. Usually you're gonna probably... If mid-screen, you're gonna be using this more. More hit grab range. Damn one. Yeah! Thing is, if you're using this position, you can get yourself a meteorite, and that's fine. Hell, you can probably even get to do this. Because this is plus 68. So, if done correctly... You gotta save jump with the meteorite behind. What do you call it? Hit grab? Oh, right. Habit. I personally don't like to use the 236U like this, because it just adds very little damage to the face. And the idea is that you want corner carry in general. So, creating a situation back in mid-screen to have a meteorite in mid-screen is not worth it. I personally don't find it worth it. It's a thing that you can mix people around and create a different situation to make a person to think about it. I don't see much to work with this. Because the thing is, to get a close hit into EX hand, to spend the cooldown of the EX hand, is... you need something big for this. Sure, if it's like, for instance, this kind of situation from the 6XL, I would take the 236U. Oh, if it's a RS or C combo, I just go for damage. Most of the time. If I'm spending a BP and bar, I'm spending damage. I think our Raging Strike, Raging Chain damage is good. And usually you're gonna be spending Raging Strike, Raging Chain in defensive positions, honestly, when you think about it. Because if you're spending it in the corner to Raging Strike, Raging Chain, you're already putting yourself in a bad position, because you could have just ended... Yeah, 2L to far light. It's gonna probably be mostly, like... Oh shit. I'm messing it up. Nah, it works when you're not cornered as well. It's 5,000 damage to return back to mid-screen, a bit further a bit closer to the corner, but it's still good enough and you still have enough. 2H, 60 Frill. It's possible as well. The thing is, remember, you want to get out of the corner, that's why you're spending the BP itself. So, if you're creating a situation of getting Oki at, like, here, somewhere where you're sitting, like, in this position, I don't think that's a good idea. Like, you can't particularly get much. I don't find it much. Like, I'd rather just go for damage. Plus 39 in mid-screen, you're not putting any meteorites. You're just moving forward away from the corner. I think that's better. And you get good enough damage as well. Other than that, your other time you're gonna be pressing Raging Strike, Raging Chain if you really need to kill off of the anti-air combo, or if you don't have a cooldown to get in a combo here, or a way to launch, and you really want to get in the super. That's like the only time I would think about it. Cause like, you see, Squiddy, the thing is, to go for this option, do you see where you put your opponent back after it? It's kind of counterintuitive with Galleon then. Because let's be real, Galleon in mid-screen is pretty weak. She's slow, but the thing is, when the game slows down, her buttons get a lot of ways to work with. But she's not someone that can maintain that pressure and what you're gaining for. So you're spending 25 meter for a hard knockdown that barely moves you any forward after getting a hit to create a position that you're risking things. Like, it's a safe gem, sure, but the thing is, if you want to continue on with the pressure afterwards, you're risking delayed BC, which is very bad for Galleon. And the fact is that you would need to be instantaneous with it, and you, in mid-screen, you already use 25 bar. You're not gonna have a hand for quite a bit, 8 seconds, because you use the X1. And to get any pressure off of that rock, you would need the ultimate command grab. And remember, you do not have the X hand here. I particularly think that this is a very counterintuitive usage of her bar. If you want to use the bar and you get a close hit, you go for this. This is a lot better damage, corner carry wise. At least that's my opinion about it. Because remember, with Meteorite, you also, if you get the auto combo, you need 2 auto combo hits in And if you want to get the save jump, you need to use either EX version to have some space, or the L version to still continue pressure with the L. It's counterintuitive. It's extremely counterintuitive. I could go into this like whole day, but I don't think we have time. So let's talk about counterplay to her. So if you're playing against a Galleon, there are a few things that you need to remember. First of all, remember, blocking this has to be crouching. Don't let yourself to be hit by this. It's even more important if there's a meteorite on top of you. Oh, that's like one of the core knowledge checks that you can get. I'm just gonna be going with this knowledge check on the starters, but now I'm gonna be constructing it a bit more clearly. If you're playing against Galleon that really likes to do meteorite, is the 5U, you can quite literally on 5U spot dodge it and just go forward. She's just taking a lot of time. 5U by itself, if there's a lot of 5U spamming, think of it as a projectile, because you can jump it and get yourself a punish. EX hand, you block, plus frames, that's whatever, but she cannot continue on. There's also ranges where the EX hand hits and she can't particularly get any pressure going afterwards. So it's just a bit of space to work with. And there's another thing. Everything that you do, and Galleon does spaced out, you backdash. Galleon has very, very poor ways of dealing with backdashes. Very. If, hell, remember somebody said, can you just jump back to 5U and just be safe? Yes. Yes, you can. You lose space. But the idea is, like, for instance, if they use this kind of position of meteorite, you just say, we don't care. Oh, that's a meteorite. You can even late react backdash most of the positions. If Galleon throws the EX hand from further away, you backdash. Yeah, you spot dodge the 236M. The 236M, spot dodge is 0. If it's done from a cancel, you're +5. Not in throw range, really depends where this happens. But you can get some 5-frame characters can do it. Hell, Belial just always punishes. Funny enough. The air grab, if you see her in the air, just usually hold down and 2H. You can even 2H it at any range you want and just do whatever. It's just whatever. Even if you miss the 2H, you're still crouching, and that way you're like, you can even get some nasty links if you really want to. It's just a knowledge check in a sense. What else? What else is there to talk about it? Command grabs, I personally recommend to think about command grabs as just command grabs. You can react to it, and if you have a reversal, you can react to it pretty late and still get enough to work with against her. Having a DP helps as well. Because then most of the pressure strings become... Wait. It's like, you can't react to it. It's just hard, and usually you don't react with... You can react with the jump, but with the jump it's a bit panicky. Usually if you have a DP or whatnot, it gives you a bit more leeway on it. And you can backdash the command grabs. And sometimes even when you do the far light block, you can just backdash. Like, what is she gonna do with this kind of pressure reset in mid-screen? So even if Galleon does this little shenanigan after far light, you can backdash and you can then go for the punish. But at the same time, if she tries to catch you afterwards, it's gonna be hard with the 6XL. It's gonna be a far button, which is your win condition, which you air reset into back to mid screen for 900 damage. And if Galleon is more pesky on using 5U as a tool in this kind of position, backdashing the far medium, if I can. It even freaking works like that, huh? Oh, his becomes pretty late on that, right? You can still, the idea is there. Backdashing a lot of Galleon shenanigans is gonna help you a lot. Because you either backdash out of her ranges, or you create air reset positions, or you backdash out of... like, for Galleon to deal with backdash, it has to be so deliberate, where... even, like, delay far lights, or mediums, off of, like, positions, just to catch a backdash, and even then it's not gonna be much. It's gonna be looking like this, as what Squiddy said. Like, GG, 3100 damage. I have to spend meter and cooldowns for this. It's not gonna be good at corner. In corner, you basically... in your best interest is gonna be mostly blocking and then checking when she wants to get in to work with it. BCing 6XL is very good. Do not BC far range options, because she can do some funnies. Wait. Like, this is a BC safe option. Few other knowledge checks that you can look out for. If you see Galleon go for this, which is funny, because you discern it if it goes into the animation instantly, instead of... because if you have a actual flash freeze, then you can just jump it. But if it goes instantly into this, it is a fireball super, which you can just quite literally at certain ranges delay roll, if I remember right. Yeah, and you just kill her. The thing is, you have to understand when playing against Galleon that Galleon is either gonna play a thousands cut game, which is gonna take her just do small hits here and there, just to position into places where she's very dangerous, in the corner and whatnot. So you can take risks in those 1000 cuts, because even if she gets the hit, she needs to reset that interaction and keep on putting up the pressure. For you, winning the interaction is gonna mostly result in back to neutral, pushing her away from her win condition and whatnot. It is not that bad to play a bit more braver against her pressure strings and resets. Jumping also is a good idea, mostly against some of the cancels and properties. Hell, if there's a meteorite, like she set up meteorite and then says, okay, I'm gonna just set up meteorite and then 5U. Like you can treat it as a projectile. You can't do it on reaction because you'll have to block the meteorite itself. But usually this is a good idea. And now I'm starting to already crack up in my thought process. I think that's most of the things that you need to know about Galleon and how to deal with her. Alright, there's another thing that's probably gonna stump a lot of people. It is far heavy into far heavy. Far heavy by itself is 0. Right? So what people do is usually far heavy into far heavy, just to push yourself out and just create a situation where you hit it. Funny enough, you can press far light. And for Galleon cannot particularly even catch it that well in between those. If you have a 7-framer, even better. Or of something that low profiles things. The thing is, this is a fake pressure thing. And sometimes if you see far H and far into far H, sometimes the answer is even... Wow, I'm bad at this. Or, if it's far H, backdash in mid-screen. What's she gonna do? This is what she's gonna do. But remember, far H itself is a true string in most of the cancel positions, so... Whoopsie. But that's that. I think I would need to close it up. I'll know that I've glossed only very... on, like... Only... This is the surface and a bit, like, slashes into more of the complexity of the Galleon. As I said, and I'm gonna repeat, I think that she is simple from her kit and what she wants to achieve. Her complexity comes from contextual positioning. The meteorites, where are you to the screen, what kind of situations want you to create, how do you want to condition your opponent, and whatnot. And in the end of the day, you're gonna be looking for advantages in matchups rather in her own strength. So yeah, that's that. Are there any last questions? It's very specific, and I think I don't have whole night for this. For the matchup advantages and looking out for them, but yeah, that's that. if that is all, then I will be closing this. The questions can be always directed into the U training grounds and or my DMs in a sense. This will be saved as a VOD. And with that, I'm gonna be hopping off myself. So yeah, it was me here, alright, and I just went through a lot of Galleon shenanigans. That's that. I will be sending the stream to Duncan Yips. Wow. Thanks with the sounds of all of time. Let me just send you.
I'm not sure what these keepers are thinking, but they are having some ideas.
They aren't thinking, that's the issue. They aren't thinking. 6XL clash!
So yeah, other than that,
Grab.
I'm
First
done,
time to charm,
and
never
with
mind.
it,
Goes for a 6XL and potentially gets that round, which it did.
it was all about the Galleon for beginners and how to think about it.
That's plus.
I
Using
will
XP
be going
not get
off.
pressured more. Oh, he pressed some.